Hey everybody, this is Brad Petty from NPi Entertainment, and today I'm talking with my buddy Chris Jesperson from Storybox Cinema. Not
What's up?
Storybook, not Storybook, Storybox Cinema.
This is true.
So Chris, usually when I see you, we're at your venue, the Madison, which we'll talk about later. But today I wanted to hear about Storybox because
The original.
yeah, that's when I first met you. That's what you were doing. You were actually in the midst of shooting a wedding that I was DJing at,
Probably plugged
and
into your board. You're really nice.
yeah, it was. I don't know how many years ago that was. I remember the wedding. You know what? It was either at the Cleveland Botanical Gardens
Yeah.
or it was at the park.
Botanical Gardens.
Okay, because I know we
Yeah.
did two together, pretty pretty close to each other. Um,
Yeah, that was awesome. I like that wedding.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a crazy one, and it went late, and I feel like it might have even been like a holiday weekend, maybe like a
It was
Sunday.
really late. I remember they wanted you to um keep going. I think it was past 1 a.m. I remember that's the latest I'd ever stayed at the wedding ever. It was like a 1:30 a.m. was my end time.
Yeah, he wanted the dad wanted to keep going and was willing to pay, but the venue was like, no way, we got to shut down.
No.
Yeah, hey, thank God they kind of saved me on that one because I was running out of steam. It was
I
a
was
long
impressed.
one.
They danced the whole night. I was like, these guys won't do it. And then they did.
Yeah, it was fun. So Storybox, let's start from the beginning. You are
Yeah.
not from Cleveland.
No, I'm originally from like the Seattle area. Olympia is where I went to yeah. The Pacific Northwest is where I'm from.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've told me this before, but refresh my memory. You started shooting more.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been filming since I was a kid. I remember I looked through a camera. This is my life story. No, I looked through a camera and was like, awesome, that's what I want to do. And it's changed, and the people I've filmed and the things that I've filmed, maybe it's photography or video, like that's always kind of changed. But the constant is that I really liked filming um, or photography. Went through college, photography, got out of college, knew how to do video, and was like, this seems like I really like this, and so I should probably keep doing it. Did commercials and worked on like documentaries and corporate shoots, and that's kind of like where I came from. I worked on some like bigger budget things when I moved to Cleveland. I was just interested in film in general. Never wanted to film like movies. I was not interested in that. I was interested in shooting documentaries, and came to Cleveland, filmed a wedding. No. We moved to Cleveland. My wife got a full ride for her university here at
yeah.
Case. We moved here, and so I did a wedding right before we moved, and so I was like kind of bound. I'm flying home just to do weddings because like I didn't have a job out here, and I was just trying to start a video company.
Sure.
But I did a wedding. It was really fun. And then I did another wedding, and I kept flying home to Seattle for these weddings because I didn't build up any clients here. I just moved. And then that's kind of like how it started. I just started doing weddings, and that's like the famous story. And I was like, wait, I kind of like this. Wait, this is kind of like documentary filmmaking.
Yep.
These are
That
real stories. So
it's funny because I started out DJing in clubs, and then I inevitably did a wedding for a friend, and then it was like the friend's friend hit me up, and then
yep.
realized that it's like, wait a minute, this is actually kind of fun. It's just a party with a bunch of friends and family drinking and dancing. So
Yeah, they're a blast. And I remember that one we did with you. I was just like, wait, you're awesome. Are you like I think I asked you, are you a real DJ? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, because it's really good.
that's funny. Um, so, I'm referencing some notes that I made too. I don't normally do this, so I'm maybe a little nervous. I'm not an interviewer, uh,
You're
but
good.
you're one of the first ones on my list of people that I wanted to reach out to. What is today? April 6th, 2020. We're in the midst of the coronavirus. We're both stuck at home. We're both uh, um, relying on virtual meetings and streaming and doing a lot of this. So I figured,
Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom. It's all about Zoom. This is
Love it.
the year of Zoom, so I figured this was a good time to kind of kick off this series. So you're our
No, it's
first.
great. I've been able to chat with a lot of people and a lot of people I don't normally connect with. I love the idea. I think it's great.
Yeah, for sure. So the first question or the first thing that I have on my list is explain the difference between, and this is going to sound really basic, but maybe not everyone watching this will even understand the difference. Um, you're a videographer. You're not a photographer. So if
Correct.
somebody gets you for their event, their wedding, um, you're there to film,
Not really photos at all, actually. I get
right?
asked a lot to take photos, and I just say, okay. And then no one ever knows. But at the wedding. So, yeah, video is moving pictures, motion picture. There we go. Moving images. That's why the name motion picture came. It's a bunch of images stick together. I mean, we all know what a video is, but yeah, I don't do photography. I do video. Um, and I kind of had learned that and felt like I had also I actually studied photography in college, but coming out of it, I'd picked up video, and I was like, okay, I think I can market this maybe more than there's a lot of photographers in my college classes, and
Right,
everyone was a photographer, and I love photography, but I just felt like, hey, maybe this skill is a bit more marketable. It's a bit more tech savvy. There's a few more things I have to learn, frame rates and recording audio and movement of the camera and capturing that, and then coming back and editing it. And so I kind of was like, if I'm going to leave college, I think I'm going to try to market this thing, video.
right. Do you ever have clients that don't understand the difference and think that they can get you to shoot their event and also take some pictures on the side? Or is that
In the
not a thing?
beginning, no, in the beginning maybe, but we're normally like the videographers are like the end. So maybe photographers get asked to film, but I never get asked to photo.
Gotcha. I
Um,
wasn't sure with the popularity of DSLRs if people are like,
right.
"Oh, can't you just shoot some pictures
Well,
too?"
that's the thing is people, every time during a wedding, by the time the dancing happens, it's like, hey, take a photo of us.
Yep.
Say, okay, just film a little bit and say,
And every
no one knows.
wedding, well, not every wedding, but most of the weddings that I'm at, there's a photographer, but there's not always a videographer,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
which is a good segue into my next point, which is you service a certain level of client. You
yeah,
are working in the luxury wedding industry. So I should have introed Chris that way, explaining that he's traveling around the world doing high end weddings, weddings that cost probably more than a lot of people's homes. And yeah, so I'm not really seeing you too much in Cleveland anymore. You're pretty much on the
yeah.
road. You're flying around.
Not in the road right now.
Yeah, not now. No one is, but you.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's like it's kind of going crazy. Yeah. I'm on the road quite a bit. We specialize in um, tends to be a high end client, high net worth individual, families. Multi-day events is kind of our specialty. Anything like traveling destination is really um, kind of where we're sitting right now. Happy to work. I've worked in Cleveland a little bit recently, um, but yeah, the weddings are pretty expensive that
Right,
we're working on, and I'm just talking about like a lot of NDAs and privacy and being discreet, and
right.
it's just a little bit different than when I started out. Um, and I love both.
Name a few countries you've been to in the past couple of years.
I've been to Lebanon, Italy, London. I was just in Thailand, all over Thailand, lots of Maui, New York, LA. We bounced back a lot. Where else? I mean,
I live vicariously through your socials.
Montenegro. That was really cool.
Nice.
Um, a lot of Europe and all over. Yeah. Thailand was the farthest I've been. That was took 20. That was like 30 hours of traveling.
So, are you working mainly with wedding planners?
Almost
Almost,
exclusively.
yeah.
Yeah, or event planners. Um, yeah, I'd say one out of one like 1% is through the client now.
Right.
We actually just had one person who booked us through the client, like themselves booked us through my website, and I would say that's pretty unique nowadays.
So the client that just hit you up direct, were they are they local or are they in another state or country?
Yeah, they're in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
So luxury weddings, that brings up my next thing I wanted to ask you about, Engaged. Tell us about Engaged because it looks awesome. I hear about it. I've heard about it
Yeah.
from you, Brian Bonacisi. I listen to his podcast. He's,
Yeah.
he's always talking about it, and some of the planners in town and whatnot.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, when I started doing weddings, maybe a little bit longer now, and I've been filming a lot longer before that. Um, but so 3 years ago, I started doing weddings and ended up just getting connected. I think I definitely fell into the destination stuff. I liked it as soon as I started doing weddings. I thought, oh, I can go to um, I can get weddings somewhere else. I just like as soon as I started doing them, I'm like, I can go to Maui
Right,
or something. I could work there. I'm capable of working there. I'd worked for someone else before my I started my own business. So then as soon as I was able to start my own, I thought I can go places. That just got me into a group of people. We started working in at some hotels, and I had my friend Lori out of Maui like took a huge chance on me, brought me out. We filmed this big shoot for the Four Seasons Resort Lanai out there. And I just started getting connected with these people that kind of professionally travel, professionally do events all over the country and the world, and I was pretty enamored with it, and thought that was pretty incredible. Someone had, and I heard Engage, which is a conference, and I heard a couple people talking about it, and finally someone said, "Are you coming this year?" And I had enough friends to where they'd asked me if I was coming that I was like, I think, and I didn't even really know what it was, but I knew it was a big conference for event professionals, and I just said, I think I should probably go to this. This seems like I should go. It's expensive. It was a huge investment. I think at the time it was around $5,000 or $6,000, $7,000 in total. You
sure,
know, I'm not trying to scare anyone away, but just trying to say what it is.
right,
You're investing in your plane ticket, your flight over there, and I think it's about a week long, and it's kind of some of the top event professionals in the world come together in a big conference, and it's fun, and there's amazing speakers, and it's at a beautiful resort or a hotel or wherever we're at, and it's a man, it blew my mind away.
yeah. So Engage is a mix of all different types of vendors. So photographers, videographers, entertainment planners, design, decorators, everything. Right.
Yeah, yep, it's everyone. There's wardrobe, there's you already say caterers, the DJs, which is something maybe you don't like think about as someone who maybe travels a lot, but it definitely is going to hit a lot on planners, a lot on photographers, especially when I started going, which like is not that long ago, but I think it's changing quickly, and people are seeing how amazing it is. I know there's a
Right.
lot more videographers there, so please don't come. Just joking. You
Right.
should.
Right,
Uh,
because when you first started going, there probably wasn't that many, right?
One or two.
Handful? Yeah,
Yeah, and that's just in my kind of time from going. I think I started going 3 years ago, and so there's people are coming in and out of the business a lot, and so there's new faces. But yeah, kind of when I was started going 3 years ago, there wasn't a lot of videographers or cinematographers, and now I'm seeing a lot. But it's a great, they're all great friends. But basically, the beautiful part about it, what I loved about it was like the connections and the relationships you get to make. And I think there's people there that I'd emailed, before this I'd started. I would just type in like top event planner in New York City or something or wherever just to see, and
right,
so and so would pop up. I'd email them, then nothing would happen. Nothing would. They're like, "Thank you, but no thanks." And so I'd emailed people, and so going to Engage, I started to see the people who I had emailed with, and things happened a lot quicker when I was face to face with people, like anything.
right.
So
It's
I just started making all these friends and connections, and just kind of like threw myself into the process of what Engage is. And some I think there's tons of people that are like, it's super clicky and expensive, and it's super like whatever, and like
well,
uh
it's like life. I mean, the wedding biz is just like life. It's who you know, it's
yeah,
relationship, it's referrals, and that's how we continue, bringing in new clients.
yeah,
It's word of mouth. So if you get to go there and meet these people face to face and start a relationship, then obviously it's gonna help you, get into
yeah,
that world.
yeah. And it just now it's a part of my business. Now it's I go all the time. It's all those are my coworkers, those are my friends.
Right.
um I think you have to be really into that and want that. But I think if you are, then Engage is a pretty incredible place. It is one place. I know there's that's not, this is the way I am where I am, and I always want to say like that you don't have to do that. You don't have to be a crazy extrovert like me who like loves people, and there's other ways to get
Right.
wherever you want to go. But I kind of had found, oh, this is my happy place. These people, this place, you know, kind of everyone really wants to get somewhere. Um, they're trying to move up, and be the best, and so that was encouraging and scary to be around. And but I just ended up loving it, and I kept going. I've filmed two of them now,
Oh,
and
that's cool. Where
yeah,
was it this year? I know it always moves to a different.
there's like three. There's three every year. I think
Okay.
last year they did four. And the most recently was in Dubai. I mean, they're incredible. It's again, people may not like it or hear things about it, and I always try to tell positive things about it. And this can be just a whole ad for Engage, and I think it's an ad for anywhere where you can get together and meet with people. But that one, Engage has really done a good job at bringing together high level people who are interested at going to the next level or being the absolute best in their craft, and it is encouraging and kind of exhilarating, and super motivating, and that worked for me right now, and I really like. And then obviously just meeting amazing people,
Sure.
and partying on the dance floor. I love dancing, and I meet so many good people there. So everything I've done since I've been going to Engage is really trailed back, or the real what relationship to who, and you always can look back and kind of see like that was a good investment.
Yeah,
The
that's
person I
that's always
met there
nice.
introduced me to that person, introduced me to this person, and like every event is like that, and they have just created this kind of hotspot of friendship and community that, I mean, it really has impacted my whole life. So go Engage. I love it.
Nice.
So
All right.
wow.
Let me ask you this. So you work
Yeah.
with planners and clients who have typically destination weddings. Do you ever work with people who are from here, from Cleveland, Ohio, or from Washington, where you're from originally, who would go on a destination wedding and take you with them?
No,
That's
I
what I
don't
try
think
to
I have
encourage.
yet.
That's what I try to encourage people who are from Cleveland going out of the country to get married. I say, why don't you take one of us with you, because you know us, you trust us, and all it is a plane ticket and an extra hotel room.
You want to know why?
Why? Tell me.
Here's why.
Tell me.
Is because in the same way that when people want, if they're going on a destination, they want a destination videographer, photographer, DJ, or whoever. Not all the time, but most of the time they do, because I'd say that those people are good at traveling. It's just like anything. It's like if you saw someone playing somewhere all the time, you'd be like, they know that spot really well. So like a destination person is really good at playing on the road, or oh, they work on the road, oh, they do this all the time. So there's some level of confidence in saying
I get that, but
totally.
I've also heard of couples going to like a resort and they're like, "Oh, the DJ just comes with the resort." And it's like some local guy who rolls up with, whatever, and
No,
they have no interaction with them, and it's a
same thing for
quick wedding.
video and photography too. I hear lots of stories
You
of
know what I
like,
mean? So it's like if you're paying
yeah,
all that money and your friends are flying out and you're going to this amazing location, it's like I get, you don't want just some Cleveland guy there, but I mean, it could, really help your wedding.
and I think it's a thing that a lot of people realize after their
Right.
wedding,
Yeah.
is like, oh
Yeah, we
crap.
shouldn't have had Joe Schmo who came with the the resort, you know, doing
And there's
whatever.
no way to know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, I know, I totally agree. It's or sometimes we'll get questions, and I know people even locally do too, of kind of like, have you shot there before? Do you know the place? And you're
right,
like, no, I don't, but that actually could be good, because I don't, it's not going to just put you in the same spot and do the same thing that the
right,
house photographer does. I'm going to come in with fresh eyes. And um, so,
right,
yeah, no, I know people that, yeah, are the house photographer, and hey, I'm sure they're really, really nice people for sure.
right.
Not dissing
So
that.
so you know that I represent entertainers, DJs, and bands, and
Yeah.
I'm also a longtime DJ. So I'm curious to get your perspective, um, from a traveling wedding videographer's perspective of entertainment. What what are you seeing? Maybe like, is anything trending now? Or is there anything grabbing your attention? Things in other markets, or just maybe at these crazy, luxurious weddings? I'm curious in your end of the business what you're seeing.
Sure. And I think sometimes, sometimes I don't talk a lot about Storybox or those events because sometimes I feel like it can almost people are spending a lot of money. We're
Right.
talking millions of dollars on
Sure.
an event. That is not normal for most people, and so I never want it to seem like, hey, this was really cool and this is not. But I think what kind of like what you're asking and what I always think is there's pieces you can pull from people who spend millions of dollars, and how could you bring that into an event where you're
Sure.
spending a very much normal amount of money? So okay, so things that I see a lot when I'm on the road and these destination events, I see a lot of interactive entertainment. So the music is not just maybe the band on the stage, but it's a whole experience. So as you're walking into the event, maybe there's violinists or guitar. I'm doing this. I don't know what this is, but violinists or guitar
You're
players
doing
or
air violin.
air violin. More of an experience thinking through the details of the whole thing on kind of how is. I think that's kind of the beauty of these high end events is that you get to do your craft at the highest, like what you dream of doing. For
Right.
me, I get to do what I love at the most, and so when you have a lot of resources, they're able to kind of think through what's the craziest thing we can do with event music and entertainment. So that's one thing. Is just it's a bit more all encompassing a lot of times. Um, Also, live bands. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of those in Cleveland. Kind of like you're saying, I own the venue. We're seeing a lot of bands come in, so that's exciting. I love live music. I love live music so much, but I also love DJs. And so what I see a lot is maybe a band in the beginning, as in like the main part, the main act,
Mhm.
and something. And I don't know if I'm pretty sure we're doing. People do this. Are people doing after parties here a lot?
Wedding after parties?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a real, like, shot and beer type of town, so a lot of the
sure,
wedding after parties tend to be at, like, breweries and, like,
got it.
corner bar type places, but
Sure,
there's sometimes there are, like, crazy clubby type after parties too, which I'm all.
yeah. So like a lot of times we'll see like the main band, and when I say after party here, if we're at a hotel, maybe it's just another room is the
Yeah,
after party.
right.
But a lot of times there is like we'll have the main band, they just kill it, and by the time they're done, everyone is like ready to keep dancing, and so they move over to an after party or something, and there's a DJ. And I think we've talked about this before, but DJs are amazing because I think they can like play the hits that are coming out today and yesterday, like the newest stuff.
Right.
Um, and bands tends to be a bit more difficult. So, and like a lot of times the DJs are doing like these live band and DJ mix ups and mashups with like maybe a horn section and a DJ or like bongo, and like those have been some of the coolest,
Yeah,
the most fun entertainers I've seen. Is like, yeah, it's like the DJ is the main person, and then there's these like the bongo drums and dancers, and it's like, whoa, that stuff is really fun because
yeah.
you're getting the best of both worlds. That energy from the live musicians, and then the hits that you want to hear right now.
I always encourage, if a client has the budget to do both, nothing beats a live, really good band.
Yeah,
Um, but then you have your own taste in music and also what your friends and family want to hear. So the DJ can play like all of that, but then the
yeah,
band does the live thing, and yeah, it's awesome. So if you can do both, I really encourage people to do that. Also, like you were mentioning at the beginning, when you walk in and there's a violin player, or there's maybe like a strolling sax player, I think it's cool to like throw in those elements during cocktail hour or dinner or whatnot, and still bring in the live instrumentation. And I feel like,
interactive is something I see a lot. Is just
yeah, it's interactive. Everything now is, you'll see it even with food, with the caterers, everything is just more interactive. Something like you can like grasp and you know,
yeah. I saw Joe Mineo, and this is I know going off music. He's a amazing designer
yeah.
and here in Cleveland area in Pittsburgh. But he was showing me this one champagne wall where instead of just pulling the champagne off, it was like hands out,
Oh,
like a
through
bunch of
the
hands,
yeah, through like the green, like
something.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those are really cool. I've seen those
So you
too.
walk up and you grab the champagne from someone's
Mhm.
hand that you can't see. It's like through a wall. Oh, it was so cool.
We
Tiny
have
details that make it. I mean, that's a lot of people are back there, but those tiny details or even just ideas like that are really fun and kind of make it a whole. I think what we're all going for in the event industry is we want an experience. You want someone. I want to capture that experience with film. You want to give that experience on the dance floor. You want someone to remember that night forever.
right.
So I think how can you build an experience with music, and not that just having a band is boring, but there's just a bunch of fun ways to think about it. It's really just getting creative.
For sure. I love just mixing it up and, giving the clients, giving the attendees something to do, So even if it's something just everybody's on their phones, so if you give them something just to even take a picture of, I feel like you sort of won. Um,
Absolutely.
so speaking of music, I know you love music. Tell me a little bit about what you're into. Maybe even like some music that you're listening to these days that you could I don't know, turn us on to something new.
Oh,
Before I hit record, you were telling me about a band in Akron that I need to check out that I've never heard of. They
oh
sound
yeah.
really
Okay,
good.
okay. The Labra Brothers.
Yeah,
They played at our. They played at the Madison. They just killed it. So shout out to them. They are amazing. Really like them. Three brothers who, yeah, they just somehow. Okay, so I'm into harmonies. I'm into a bunch of different music. I love like folk harmony. I don't know if you've ever heard of Matt Corby. Um, right now, I'm listening to his new album. It's amazing. Really like kind of like underground folky. I know that. And then I love like Drake and hip hop.
yeah, right. Do you
Um,
like Jose Gonzalez? Have you ever listened to him? You should check him out if you like full.
now you're gonna see how much I don't know.
Well, there's so much to keep up with.
I love a lot, and okay, so I like anthemic music.
Yeah,
I love dancing. I love being on the dance floor. So music that has like not a choir, but like when the song is like everyone's singing it, or it's something that everyone can
yep,
sing to. So my favorite is on the dance floor, and people are all dancing, singing together. Um, so that's a lot of times I like popular music. I
yeah,
love popular music on the dance floor, or pop music, or whatever you would call it, because
sure,
everyone is like, "Oh, I know that
yeah.
song," and gets down, and they love it. So um,
I
I
totally
love
get it.
that. That stuff's super fun. Or what was that one song by Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga? That was a big. I
Yeah.
love that song.
What's funny is I remember when so my company, the company that I work for, NPi Entertainment, helped produce Chris's, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but Chris's venue, it's called the Madison. We helped produce their launch party,
It
with
was killer. You guys
A
killed it.
charming vet was on the lead, and a bunch of other really good vendors in Cleveland. But the entertainment was Jordan Kahn Orchestra. Where are they from? Are they from New York or just kind of like all over?
New York, Dallas. I mean, I think within
Yeah,
that
I've
week that
seen.
he did our party, he was in like 5 different spots after.
Okay.
They like live on an airplane.
So when they were warming up before the doors open, I remember you said, "Hey, can you play um what's it called? What's it called? Wait,
Uh,
Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga.
Tell me something, girl.
What is it?
What's it?
Shallow, Swallow,
Shallow.
Shallow. Okay, that was the first time I had ever heard it, and now I'm like, it's on my guilty pleasure list. I love
Love that music.
it. So yeah, he did a good. Jordan did a good rendition of that. Are you like pulling it up?
No,
Do you need a quick
Thanks so
hit
much.
of the?
I love that song. I just love anthemic music. Like that song, everyone screams like the chorus. Um,
Do you hear that
like
song
people
at
just go
weddings?
crazy. Yeah,
Did you? So
yeah.
do you just do weddings or do you do other events?
We do some corporate stuff. I'm moving into it. I've done like probably 4 corporate events this year. One got postponed
Yeah.
to next year, but yeah, big corporate parties, galas, fundraisers, stuff like that, where our job is to, what they find value in is that hopefully people will think it's really cool. We can show off what is happening, and get more people there next year. um, Show the success of a company, show the sales of a company for investors and stuff like that. um, or for galas, or fundraisers, getting people there next year and showing what a blast it was, and how these galas are really impressive. These fundraisers are pretty special, and they
Yeah,
raise money for pretty incredible things. And so it's like an honor to be able to film a lot of that stuff. So
and for the amount of I mean, I think for the amount of money that people spend on events, I I think it's important to budget money for a videographer because when you can show that event to, next year's possible attendees or sponsors or, your staff or whoever, I just
yeah,
think it's really important. And it's like you should be documenting everything these days. I mean,
yeah. I always kind of joke
always
that my biggest salespeople are the people who never got a video
who never got a video.
because they're just like, we should have gotten a video. It's our biggest regret.
Yeah, of course. I mean, even
So
events
those
that
people are sell for me.
I've done, I've been doing events for, I mean, 20 years and I don't have anything documented because I mean, when I started, I didn't even have a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like I have,
That's the cool part now, though. It's like you can film so much stuff. It's crazy with your iPhone.
well, you even taught me like just put it in 4G and keep your hand still. I mean, not
4K.
4G, 4K. See, see, I'm a rookie.
No,
Put it,
yeah. Hey,
switch it to
that's something I'm working
4K.
on doing. Maybe a class, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like,
for real, like I did that. I didn't even have it switched to that mode, and I've made a bunch of just like with iMovie. I mean, they're obviously not like what you do, but just real, quick 30-second
no,
little
absolutely. Hey,
wrap
in the
up.
middle of like huge events, this is like my best tool now because this thing can shoot 4K. There's times like we all have accidents and things that happen. Like I've had a camera shut off in the middle of an important moment. Instead of trying to mess around with it and see if I can get it to turn back up, 4K,
Yeah,
done.
I
Hold it
tell
really
my
steady.
I tell my
Beautiful.
bands and DJs, I'm like all the time, just give me video. Switch it to
Anything.
4K. Switch it to 4K. Shoot some quick clips. Send them to me. I'll edit it. I'll make something. But just document this. We need content. It's always about more and more content.
Yeah, and I think people like to relive. Okay, I'm giving you part of my philosophy right now. It's like my job, I think, as a videographer. This is me, and maybe not other people, but my job, I feel like, is to reflect back. Oh, here we go. It's gonna get real deep. But I feel like I want to be a mirror back to like what the event was. And I try to use the best gear I possibly can and do the absolute best job that I can. In the same way that like when you pull out your iPhone and film the moon or something or the sunset and it like does not look good, you're like, that's not what it looks like.
Right.
I think that's my job to make sure the film looks like what it actually is is
Sometimes
feeling like.
I feel like sometimes it almost makes some film and some pictures make events look better than they actually were at times.
Then
So
they're a darn good videographer, photographer.
you know what
And
I
again,
mean?
I think that that's my job is like, what does it feel like to be at the event? I want to capture that and show that back on the video. So like when you're drunk and dancing on the dance floor, it probably feels pretty amazing and it feels like you're at a crazy club. On the
Yeah.
outside looking in, well, maybe it's not that cool. Maybe it's not, maybe it's just a bunch of drunk people dancing and having a blast.
That's
My
kind of
video should make it feel like it's at a club and it's like the coolest party in town because it is, and it is to the bride and groom and it is to the couple, whoever it is, So
yeah.
my job is to make it feel like, to look like what it felt like.
When you're scrolling through Instagram and you come across a picture or like a video of an event, it's like that FOMO kicks in when the videographer or photographer did a good job. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you're sitting at home looking at these pictures and videos, like, oh man. Sometimes I see these videos, and that's why I always tell my DJs, I'm like, man, if you shoot a good video, like it makes me want to book you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like,
I know there's like DJs. I've been to weddings where like DJs bring on video crews. Not that I like that, but I've definitely
oh
seen
yeah,
like DJs or bands bring video crews, and guess what? They're like making their own stuff so they can pump it out and show how fun they were.
yep.
I don't know. You got to look at your contract if you can do that or not. But like, respect to them for making it happen and like showing how amazing it was because people have a blast.
So a little bit ago, I mentioned your launch party at the Madison. So Chris is the owner or partner. I'm not really sure about all that, but at a venue in Cleveland called the Madison, which is a really cool big space on Payne Avenue, downtown Cleveland. What's the capacity there? I mean, it's got to be pretty big, right?
Like around 1,000 people.
Yeah. So I've done a bunch of events there. if you look
Owner,
online at the Madison
owner,
owner, Chris is the owner,
owner.
and yeah, I mean it's a cool space. So tell us about it.
Yeah, it came after we were doing me. I do have a business partner, and so we were chatting. I started to go to like all these different venues all over the world. We just wanted to like live in a really cool loft, so we just started talking about, boy, could we like build a cool loft, like a studio space? And I was like, oh, maybe let's do a venue. My intention was to have a cool apartment. Now, like fast forward 2 years later, we don't have an apartment in the venue, and I have a huge venue, like a huge venue, way bigger than when I got into this and wanted to do it, way bigger than I ever thought. I thought of maybe like a cute little brick house, and it's a really large 20,000 square foot brick house. So it's
I
all
mean,
white. We tried to make it really beautiful for like photography and video selfishly first, and then we just tried to think of our vendors, and we thought, hey, if we can serve our vendors well, then that's going to end up making the event way better, because a lot of times clients, they've never thrown a party for 300. A lot of times most clients haven't thrown a party before for 300, 400 people.
right.
And so if we can make it work really well for the vendors who know what they're doing, it means the party's going to end up kind of going off a lot better. um, so there's just things that people don't think about, because you shouldn't if you've never thrown a party, but having tons of electrical for people like you and your bands, and
Right.
it's just stuff I just try to think about all the places I hate and try to not make it like that.
Well, and that's what's unique is that you came in, with your experience working at all these different venues around the country, around the world, and you got to see what works and what doesn't work, and instill your knowledge into the layout of the Madison.
It's pretty crazy how many illegal venues they are all over the country, or
Oh,
just like
sure.
not up to fire code, or you're like, this is. We were at the venue where Kanye had his release album party in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, like 2 years ago. And not, they're great. They do everything legally. But I was just asking him, I was like, is there any other venues? Like Jackson Hole is beautiful. And they're like, not many. They got shut down because they did this illegally, and they just didn't do this right. And, they were lying about that. And I was like, no way. This is crazy. Like in one of the most beautiful places on earth, Jackson Hole, people are getting shut down left and right. And so I'm like, if we can just do things legally and not be sketchy about that and just think a little bit, I think we could like make this happen. And then that just evolved and evolved, and here we are.
So you just mentioned Kanye, and you weren't shooting his thing, but have
No, I
you?
wish.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Have you ever shot? I don't know if you can even talk about this, but have you ever shot any celeb um, parties or events, or whatever?
Yeah, I shot Cardi B's daughter's birthday.
Okay,
That was
nice.
fun.
What
A
was
little
that?
bit of
2 years ago? Year or two ago?
maybe just about a year ago, I think. That was crazy. What else? A
Was
couple
that
more.
through? Was that through a relationship from Engage?
Oh yeah.
See, right there, your
And things like that,
ROI.
and events like that all the time. This happens a lot. And I don't think people were like, hey, what are you doing Saturday? Can you film? Yeah. Okay, great.
Jump on a plane
Bought a
and
plane ticket and fly out, and you know they're your friends, and you're going to get paid, and that stuff
was that
happens
kind
all
of
the time.
was that the scenario with the Cardi B party?
Yeah, I think, I don't know all the behind the scenes, but I just know I got a call that said,
Yeah.
can you be out here this weekend? I said, I sure can. Happy to do it. So, and I was just coming home from Puerto Rico. I switched my flights and flew to New York instead, and there we were.
Was there a DJ there?
Yeah, probably one of her, or like probably someone famous. I'm assuming there's.
Yeah. Didn't you do something with like was I don't know if you can talk well, maybe I shouldn't mention it. Never mind. A big trance DJ. I swear you told me about something.
I helped out my friends. I'll give full credit to Larev Films, my friend, amazing cinematographer. But I helped out with him shooting Tiestos Wedding.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That was pretty fun. I didn't know who he was until we like
That's right.
we
That's
flew in, and I was like, we're driving. I had the Uber to the wherever it was, and I was like, I didn't know who this guy was, and um, I saw him on all the billboards as we were driving by through Vegas, and I was like, okay. And then I like picked up my phone and was like, no, that's the same guy. Okay, he must be popular.
That's amazing. So it was in Vegas?
It was at a resort near Vegas.
That's hysterical. I love it.
That was like the closest airport. Actually, it was not close. It was like 4 hours away. But yeah, I worked with our friends, La Rev Films, and they killed it. And I got to second shoot with them. But yeah, that was fun.
Who DJ'd his wedding? Do you know?
I forget his name. He was great. He was great.
Nice. All right, cool. So back to Cleveland. We'll wrap this
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
We'll wrap this up in a minute, but I want to hear. Tell us about some of your favorite Cleveland things. I know some of your. I
Favorite
know a
Cleveland
couple of your
things.
favorite spots. We've met at least one or two, but
Oh, we're just talking about what I love about Cleveland.
yeah, just Cleveland in general.
Okay,
Nothing
done.
related to.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, coming from Seattle, um, everyone's like, "Why are you moving to Cleveland?" And we're like, "What the heck?" And we moved here. And we loved it. There's so much amazing food. Like the chef scene, the chefs, the culinary scene is pretty
Yeah,
incredible to me. And I know we have good stuff in Seattle, but it just felt like I don't know. I loved it. I loved it. Just coming here and there was like these chefs who were on the different shows and
yeah.
like big names. I thought that was so cool. And the traffic, I love the lack of traffic.
Like, it's
Like you can just drive
so
downtown.
nice.
It's amazing. The sports teams, coming from, I don't know. I just feel like it impacts people's lives and businesses like a lot. And I would say that in a good way. Like I think it's really cool, like how much people care and how much just like involved in everything. That's new to me. And I wasn't super into sports back in Seattle, but coming here it was pretty exciting to like see how much impact that has and how much people care. Um, the parks here are crazy. Metro, I was just there like a little bit ago. Wait, I wasn't supposed to, but like we drove to the Metro.
Well, they're still
Okay, guys,
open
hang
though,
on. I
aren't
gotta
they?
explain this because
Aren't they
I
still
just
open?
read. Yes, and it says you have to stay 6 feet apart and obey
Yeah.
the laws. So
Okay.
that's what I did. Just want to make sure.
Right. Yeah.
What
Which
else?
one?
You
Which
guys
one
got
did
great
you go to?
breweries. I mean, you have what?
Which park did you go to?
There's like one right down here. I live near the Madison on like East 55th Street.
Okay.
So on the east side down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes from our house. It's beautiful.
Okay.
They do a great job. I don't know what else. It's just like a lot of talented people here. I remember my friend told me when I first moved here, it's the smallest big town you'll ever be in. And just like everyone knows each other and everyone's super helpful. And like, I don't know. I really dig it. There's super talented people here in music and food and business. I just love the community that Cleveland has. And I feel like Cleveland kind of like, okay, so when I moved here, people were like, "Are you staying? You're from Seattle?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "You staying in Cleveland?" And we're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, okay. Well, you should meet this person and this person and like."
Right.
They just kind of took me in and introduced me, and that's how it always is. So I dig that. That's really fun.
I want to end with a tip from you for any aspiring, um, let's say, special event videographers, whether it's weddings or corporate, um, whatever it is. What would you say to somebody who's like, I've got a camera, I've got a basic camera. I go out and I shoot my buddy's videos or whatever. My friend who's a rapper, we make videos, or my you know friend who skateboards or DJs or whatever. But I want to kind of kick it up. I want to take it to the next level. Would you? Do you have anything you
We're
can
talking to
recommend?
someone who wants to get into the biz, just
Yeah,
wants to
like
start doing weddings.
yeah, like what would you tell them? Because a lot of times, it's hard because even from a DJ's perspective, people don't want to hire you unless like everyone's talking about you or there's a million reviews or whatever. Fortunately, I've been doing it a long time, so most of my clients are just people I know. But if I was brand new and I was a videographer, what would you recommend?
All right, then I'll tell this like my little tip of when I first started, which was fake it till you make it. I know everyone just says not do that, but do it. I still am doing that. Um, like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here now and I'm doing it. But I'd say when I first started, do work for free. People may hate that too. I love doing work for free. It gets me in front of people that I want to be working with. Don't be annoying. Figure out who your client is. A lot of times you may think it's the bride and groom. Maybe when you're starting out, you got to think longer than that and think, is it the wedding planner who's referring you? Who are you getting business? And that's not to say don't do a good job on the wedding film. Of course, kill it for the bride and groom. but how else can you add value to every other single person who's there with you, and how can they become your advocate and your salesperson? So just thinking like that, and doing extra edits for Brad, doing extra edits for the wedding planner, doing an extra edit for the florist. Do the free work to get your name out there and make everyone an advocate for you. And I think you're going to go really far. And just don't be like, find your voice, shoot a ton. These are all like, I don't know, random things, but I think it's getting out there in front of the right people. And I know a lot of people that are spinning their wheels and working super, super hard and are crazy talented. And um, again, this is just my perspective. This is my view, but I think it's like, you got to get out in front of the right people and get that work seen by who needs to see it and who's going to get you more business. It's, you know, it's a weird mixture of art and business. And so some people are super focused on the art of how
Right.
beautiful their film is, and that's exciting, but you got to make sure the right people are seeing it so you can keep getting new business. And I think, you know, the first week I came out here, I I like drove out to a Charming Vets, wherever their office, and I sat there and it was awkward. I said, "Hi, I'm Chris." And they said, "Okay." I said, "Here's my cards," you know, and they said, "Can we see any of your wedding films?" I said, "Perfect. I have my most recent one," which no one knew was my only one. It's the only film I had. And I said, "Here's our recent work that we've done." And now we're great friends. And even to people who wanted to hire me, they said, "Do you have any work that we can see?" I say, "Perfect. Here's my most recent work that our company's put out."
Yeah.
That was the only one we did. So, you know, I think just getting your work out there and knowing who is that client, who's going to be the person that pushes you, is an advocate for you, selling for you all the time. Um, and there's so much opportunity with video. So I think it's just not being afraid to do free work. Boom.
And also probably being creative too. One thing that I wanted to mention, and I told you this earlier, was
Oh yeah.
when I did that first wedding with you, I thought it was really cool. So Chris had
Because it
everybody,
was
all
super
the
dark in that room.
yeah. So we were in this really dark room. I was DJing, and I don't know if they had a special dance or maybe it was like their first dance or something was going on where everyone was focused on the couple. And Chris had the crowd all gather around and pull out their phones and raise them up like you would do with a lighter at a concert and kind of wave it
Yeah.
up in the air like this. And I just thought that was so cool, and I figured it would probably make a really good shot too for the video. But I
Yeah, you
think
know, it's the same with anything. It's like you're having to think on your feet all the time. You're trying to, that's what makes you really good. It what makes your bands really good. I think it's what makes us good. I think there's that saying that's like a good photographer can get a shot in a perfect circumstance. A great photographer, a great video, or a great DJ, they can make whatever needs to happen in any circumstance. So I think I remember, and that was funny that you brought that up. I just remember, I'm like, this is pitch black and this is their first dance. And I saw like one guy with his light up and then another one. And so I was just like, everybody get him out. And then it
yeah,
ended up being really, really cool. Um, so, I mean, I can't tell you how many times things go wrong all the time. You got to think on your feet fast. But that's like what we all do. That's what everyone in the event world is doing. It's our
yeah,
job to make it happen with a rubber band and a piece of paper or something. And you're like,
yeah. And if there's a mistake made, nobody notices it
no
except for
one
you.
knows.
Right. So, all right. Well, I don't know. Anything else that you want to add? How about your website, your social media handles? Where can people follow you?
Storyboxcinema.com, Storybox Cinema on Instagram. Those are the big ones. The Madison venue on Instagram, the madisonvenue.com.
And if you look that up
Yep.
on really everything, or at least Facebook and Instagram, they can find you.
That's it. That's it. Reach out. I'm always happy to help. I love chatting, obviously. You can't shut me up. I love talking to people. So if anyone has any questions, or I love helping people out. And if there's, you know, anything I can do for anyone, please let me know and come check out the Madison sometime. Or if you have any questions about video, call me, email me, whatever.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate you joining me. Like I said, this was my first Zoom interview,
Round of applause for Brad.
and hopefully it went all right.
That was
Maybe I can.
great. No, man, this was a blast. I'm excited to watch all the others that you do. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, take care and stay safe, stay healthy. Don't lose your mind being stuck at home, and make us some more cool videos.
Thanks, man.
See ya.